yake inafaa kuwa wapi? Kwa kitabu. So tunasema hivi in the next slide that social media is very very important. Hatusemi ni mbaya, si hata si tunatumia. It is very very important. Are we together? But now we are saying that if we are not careful, the various social media platforms, they can distract us from achieving our educational success. And therefore we are saying that social media is a major distraction for us students because it is going to provide some source of entertainment, making it difficult to resist. Na ndio maana ukiamka, labda kitu ya kwanza yenye unafikiria ni wacha niende TikTok ndio upate update. Si ni ukweli? Wacha niende YouTube, wacha niende WhatsApp. Si hiyo ni mambo ambayo tunapitia. And therefore we are saying that you can become addicted to social media, and therefore they can distract you from being able to focus on your studies, and therefore you won't be able to achieve what we are referring to as educational success. Tuko pamoja hadi hapo? Tunaongea kuhusu vitu mnajua ama hamjui, vitu ambazo mnafanya ama hamfanyi. Haya. Then how can we be able to deal with social media? Because social media haiendi pahali. Na tunafaa kukubaliana hivyo. Haiendi wapi? Pahali. Si tuko na simu. Na wengine hata hatutumiza wazazi, tuko na simu, si ndio? So how can we be able to deal with social media? Number one, we are saying that we need to set boundaries. We need to set what? So what do we mean by this? For example, you have a whole day. You need to decide, are you going to use most of the time on social media, or are you going to use most of the time studying? And the answer is obvious, that we need to focus more on our studies and less on social media, such that when you sit down to read, then you have to ensure that you don't engage in social media. If you have to go to the social media sites or applications, then it has to be after umemaliza kufanya nini? Kusoma. Labda unajipea kama 4 hours za kusoma, after 4 hours labda unajiambia kuwa sasa naweza enda kuangalia nini? Mambo kwa social media. Kwa sababu tunakubaliana kuwa social media haiendi pahali. Tuko pamoja? Haiendi mahali. But it is now upon us as students to be able to set what we are referring to as boundaries. Tuweke mipaka na tujue ya kuwa we need to give more time to our studies and less time to social media. Tuko pamoja? So number one, we are saying that we have to set what? Boundaries. Now number two, we can also deal with social media by having what we are referring to as what? A notebook. So that as you are studying, alafu labda ukumbuke kuna kitu ambayo, tumesema social media inaweza kuwa addictive. Inaweza kuingia sana such that you cannot be able to resist. So that as you are studying, and then maybe you remember that you need to check something on social media, you can just write it down on your notebook, and then you can do that later. Badala ya kuchukua simu uende kuangalia social media, alafu ujipate kuwa umesahau kusoma, umeconcentrate na mambo ya social media, you just put it down, then you can be able to check later after you are through with studying. Sijui kama tunaelewana? So badala ya kuangalia saa hizo uache kusoma, unaandika tu pahali kwa notebook, and then unasema after I study I'm going to check on 1, 2, and then after that now you can be able to do what? To check. So you set boundaries, then you have a notebook as you are studying. If something comes up that you need to do later on social media, you just note it down, and then later you can check on it. And then number 3, we are saying that it is important as you are studying, because you have already set boundaries, that you make sure that your phone is on silent mode. Si tunajua silent mode? Hata kama message itaingia, ama kama kuna notification itaingia, wewe hautafanya nini? Hautajua. Or you turn off what we are referring to as notifications. Such that if there is any message which is going to enter into your phone, or any message that you're going to receive into your phone, you won't be able to know during that time that you are studying. But after you study, after you are through with studying, if you have set like 4 or 5 hours, you can go back to the phone and then you can be able to check. So you set boundaries, you have a notebook, and then you can be able to turn off your phone during that time that you are doing what? You are studying. Sijui kama tuko pamoja? Ama naongea sana? Tuko pamoja? So how do we deal with social media? We set boundaries. You put your phone on silent mode. Because if you study and your phone iko karibu na wewe, then be sure that that phone is going to distract you. Tuko pamoja? Be sure that that phone is going to do what? To distract you. Then also, as we talk about social media, kuna mtu amepotea. We are saying that we can also take advantage of social media. Now, rather than using a lot of time to chat with your friends and maybe to check on things which are not academic, you can be able to follow what we refer to as academic accounts. Now, we have sites whereby you can be able to learn so much about what you are studying in school. Is it okay? And therefore, you can be able to concentrate on such sites, what you are referring to as academic accounts. So you can be able to check on academic accounts, you can be able to learn a lot from that, and therefore you can be able to take advantage of social media when you follow what you are referring to as academic accounts. You can also be able to use social media to carry out research. Si watu tunapewa assignments. Kama saizi najua karibu kila mtu alipewa assignment wakati alitoka shule. Si ndio? And therefore unaweza tumia social media to carry out research on an assignment that you have been given. So instead of using a lot of time, maybe to chat or maybe to go to sites which are not going to help you to achieve your educational success, you can do research, and also you can follow what you are referring to as academic sites. Tuko pamoja? So the first distractor tumesema ni gani? Social media. Tuko sawa? Haya, twende ya pili sasa. Inaitwa nini? Haya, hebu tuambieni ni TV show gani zenye mnapenda sana? Najua kila mtu ako na yenye anapenda. Si ndio? Si kuna ile yenye unapenda kuwatch? Kuna wale wanacheza video games? Kuna wale wanacheza video games? Now, do you think they can be able to distract you? Do they take a lot of time? Na unajua the TV shows na video games ni entertaining kuliko kusoma. Si ni ukweli? And therefore you may find yourself watching a lot of shows on TVs. You may find yourself playing a lot of video games. Si tunaona hiyo picha? Tunaona hiyo kijana mwenye ameconcentrate. Anafanya nini? Hadi akamea ndevu. Na tunaona wazazi wake hapo nyuma. Wanafurahia ama wameshtuka? Wanafurahia? Ukiangalia mdomo ya babake inakaa kufurahia ama ni kushtuka? Ni kushtuka, kwa sababu ile time yenye huyo kijana anafanya nini? Anatumia kuangalia TV na pia kucheza nini? Video games. Hadi hata anasahau kukula. So kuna nini ziko hapo kando? Hata akumbuki kufanya nini? Kukula. And therefore we are saying that some of the TV shows and video games, they can be highly engaging. Zinaweza tumia wakati wako sana ama zinaweza chukua wakati wako sana to the point whereby unaweza sahau kuconcentrate on your what? On your studies. And therefore you may spend a lot of time watching shows, you may spend a lot of time playing video games to the point whereby you are going to forget about concentrating on your studies, and therefore you may not be able to achieve your educational success. So number 2 tumesema ni TV shows and video games. Now how can we be able to deal with it? Number 1, we simply set limits. Hizo TV shows na video games bado tu zitakuwa, si ndio? na tunazipenda. Kwa hivyo lazima tutafanya nini? Tutawatch, lazima tutacheza nini? Games. Lakini tunasema set time for them. Let most of their time itumike kwa masomo ama kwa kusoma. Then you can set time when you are relaxing to watch those TV shows and to play the video games. Are you together? So number one, we set limits so that you don't use a lot of time on TV shows and video games, but you set limits to the point whereby you use more time on studying and less time on video games and TV shows. Then also we are saying that within those TV shows and video games, we may have some which have educational content ambazo zinaweza kufunza, zingine hata zinaweza kusaidia to understand English better. You can concentrate on such. And also we are saying that if you are extremely addicted to them, then you can do what? Number 3 hapo inasema unplug. Unplug inamaanisha nini? Kama ni TV zima, wakati unafanya nini? Unasoma. Kwa sababu inaweza kuwa inaendelea na wewe una assume ya kuwa unasoma, lakini attention yako itarudi iende wapi? Kwa TV. Kama huwezi resist, just turn it off and then first of all study, and then after you study you can now go back to what? The TV shows and also the video games. So you set limits, you can also concentrate on educational content, and if you cannot be able to resist the temptation of watching, then you can simply do what? Unplug, or you simply switch off. Tuko pamoja? Then hiyo nitaruka, twende number 3, the third distractor. The third distractor ni gani? Number 1 ilikuwa nini? Number 2? Alafu number 3 sasa ni? Na najua wengi wetu tuko nazo hata saa hizi, si ndio? Na tunasema kwa smartphone pia hatuta avoid, sababu tuko nazo, tunahitaji kucommunicate, but we also need to be very careful because they can distract us from achieving our educational success. How can they distract you? When you are studying na uko na simu, unaweza pata message imeingia, unaweza pigiwa simu, unaweza pata alert ya social media, and therefore that can make you not to focus on your educational success. And therefore, how do we deal with smartphones? Zingine hata hatutaki kuongea sana kuhusu how do we deal with smartphone. One, we are saying that keep it out of reach. What do we mean by that? Wakati unasoma, weka simu yako mbali na penye unafanya nini? Unasomea. So that it won't tempt you to check on it. Number 2, tunasema you use flight mode. Tunajua flight mode. Ukiweka flight mode, message inaweza ingia. Ukiweka flight mode, ukipigiwa simu inaweza ingia. Utakuwa mteja. So during that time ambayo unasoma, you can simply use flight mode. And then number 3, you can also use what we are referring to as applications which are going to help you to do what? To study. What we refer to as the study apps. So we have applications that can help you to study, and therefore you can deal with a smartphone, one, by keeping it out of reach when you are studying. Number 2, by using flight mode so that any incoming messages, any incoming calls, you won't be able to get them, and also you can use them as a study applications. Haya zingine nitaruka, tuende number 4 sababu ya time. So number 1 ilikuwa nini? Number 2, TV shows and video games. Number 3, haya number 4 ni nini? Haya, na hiyo picha imeandika aje? Procrastination is the thief of, kumaanisha inaiba nini? So procrastination inamaanisha aje? Unafaa kufanya kazi leo, lakini unasema wacha nitaifanya lini? Kesho. A very simple explanation. Unafaa kufanya kazi leo, alafu unasema utafanya lini? Kesho. Tunaelewa? Huwa tunafanya hivyo? Si huwa tunafanya hivyo? So we are saying that procrastination is the thief of time. So we are saying that this is the habit of unnecessarily delaying an important task. Meaning that you are going to concentrate on something which is not important, and then you postpone something which is important that you are supposed to do what? To do. Kwa mfano, si tunaenda second term. Na tunajua at the end of the term, kutakuwa na end of term exam. Na kwa shule zingine tunajua kuwa wakati mtafungua, mtafanya exams. Mnazita openers. Si ndio? Haya, wewe unajua kuna exams inakuja, lakini unasema bado time ni nyingi. Wacha nitaanza kusoma wakati itakafanya nini? Itakaribia. Lakini wakati itakaribia utajipata kuwa you have so much yenye unafaa kusoma hadi unaanza kuchanganyikiwa. And that is what you are referring to as what? Procrastination. And we are saying that it is a common problem for students, and it can be challenging to do what? To overcome. And therefore it is easy for students to be distracted because of procrastination. So how can we be able to prevent procrastination, or how can we be able to deal with procrastination? Number one, we are saying that you need to create what? A timetable. Na tuongei kuhusu timetable ile ambayo mnapewa shule. Kama saizi si tuko holiday, kutoka next week si tutakuwa free. Unafaa kuwa na timetable ambayo itakuguide kuweza kusoma. Tunaelewa? You create a timetable which is going to guide you on how you are going to do your own studies, what we refer to as personalized studies. So instead of postponing, badala ya kusema nitafanya hiyo siku ingine, you have a timetable which is going to guide you, and it is going to help you to be able to study. Number two, tunasema you can be able to set what? Goals. Already tumeset goal yetu leo asubuhi. Tunataka kupata A na pia tunataka kupata nini? B. But now we are saying that the goals that you are going to set, they have to be what? Si tuna jina smart hapo. They have to be smart. What do we mean by smart? Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. That the goals that you are going to set. So if you have to achieve that A, what is it that you are going to do? You have to set a goal which is specific. You have to set a goal which is measurable. You have to set a goal which is achievable. You have to set a goal which is realistic. You have to set a goal which is time bound. So the goals that we set, they have to be smart. And therefore, number one, we are saying that we have to come up with a timetable. Number two, we are saying that we have to set goals, and the goals that you are going to set, they have to be smart. Tuko sawa? So the two ways they can be able to assist us so that we can deal with procrastination. So we ensure that the timetable is there, and also we ensure that we set goals, and these goals, they have to be smart. So hizo ni nne. Si tuko sawa? Haya, number 5. Number 5 is lack of sleep. Si tunamuona huyo amelala ama hajalala? Amekosa nini? Usingizi. So another distractor can be lack of sleep. Do we normally lack sleep wakati tuko shule? Ama tukiingia kwa kitanda ni kulala kabisa? So we are saying that lack of sleep can have a major impact on a student's ability to focus and retain information. And normally, because within the school, there is a lot that we need to do. We have so much that we need to do, and therefore sometimes we may sacrifice sleep so that we can be able to complete assignments and also study for examination. Sometimes we end up sleeping less hours, but we are being informed that if we sleep for less hours, we are going to lose focus on what we are supposed to do. And therefore, sleep is very, very important, because we need to ensure that our minds are always fresh so that we can be able to understand what we are being taught. So what are the reasons as to why students or you may lack sleep? So number 1 is what we are referring to as what? Academic demands. So in school there is a lot that we need to do. Hata saa zingine hatuna wakati wa kufanya nini? wa kupumzika. Si ndio? Ni ukweli. So there is a lot. There is what you need to do in class. Kuna what we refer to as the co-curricular activities, kuna clubs and all that. And therefore, because of the demands in our education system, we may have or we may get ourselves in a situation whereby we don't have time to sleep, and therefore we end up sleeping late. Sometimes kuna darasa zinaenda hadi saa 3 usiku, saa zingine zinaenda hadi saa 4 usiku, and maybe after that you need to do assignments and all that, and therefore the academic demands can be a reason as to why students may lack sleep. Another reason is co-curricular activities. Do you have them in our schools? Co-curricular activities. Kuna sports, kuna clubs, kuna drama, kuna mambo na music na all that. Sindio? And therefore, these co-curricular activities, they may be so demanding. Saa zingine maybe unaenda kurepresent shule somewhere. Ukirudi unapata kuna watu walikuwa wamesoma. And therefore, you need to find extra time to catch up with the other students, and therefore that can lead to lack of sleep. Another reason is what we are referring to as social pressure. In the next slide, I have social pressure. Saa zingine kwa wale ambao wako na simu, you may chat with your friends too late, to the point whereby you sleep for very few hours. Is it okay? You may sleep for very few hours. Another reason is stress and anxiety. We know we have various forms of stress, various forms of anxiety, though we are going to look at this later, and therefore this can make someone not to get enough or sufficient sleep. Also, there is the issue of technology, whereby we may spend a lot of time with our smartphones, with our laptops, with our tablets, and therefore this can contribute to lack of sleep to the students. But remember, we are saying that the moment you don't get sufficient sleep, then it is going to affect you in terms of your study time, because you won't be able to concentrate, you won't be able to focus, and therefore it will prevent you from achieving your educational success. And therefore sleep is very, very important. So how can you deal with it? How can you deal with lack of sleep? So we are saying that you can create a sleep schedule. Si tulisema unaweza tengeneza timetable ya kusoma. And the same way, you can also ensure that you sleep for sufficient number of hours. Tumepeana two example hapo ya 7 to 9 hours. So instead of sleeping late, chatting, and maybe doing other things, kindly ensure that you sleep in good time so that you can have sufficient sleep, so that when you wake up in the morning, you are fresh and you can be able to focus on your studies. Because lack of sleep can be a major contributor to us not being able to achieve our educational success. So far we have the 5 distractors. We are remembering them. Number 1 tulisema ni? Number 2? Yes. Number 3? Lack of? Number 6? Family and? So tunaona kama family na friends wanaweza to distract from achieving our educational success. How? Stories. Kumaanisha stories zina eat into our study time. Sindio? And therefore, one thing we need to note is that the family is always around. Hakuna vile utasema ati mimi nimejitenga na familia yangu ndio niweze kufanya nini? Kusoma. Family lazima ikue. Si tunahitaji family. We also need friends, okay? We also need friends. But it is important to note that family and friends, if we are not careful, they can distract us from achieving our educational success. But how can we be able to deal with friends and families? Number 1, we are saying that the most important thing is communication. Communication means that if you have a timetable that you need to study, you need to communicate with your family, you need to communicate with your friends. Inamaanisha nini hiyo? Wakati ambapo unasoma, una communicate na familia yako, una communicate na friends wako, ndio wanaweza kujua ya kuwa kutoka saa 3 hadi saa 6 ule rafiki yangu anafanya nini? anasoma, na kwa hivyo sifai kwenda kufanya nini? Kumsumbua. Sijui kama tuko pamoja. So you simply tell them that between this time and this time, I'm going to be studying, and therefore I'm not going to be available. And that is why we are saying that the best way to deal with friends and family is through what? Communication. You simply explain to them kindly that maybe you won't be available because you are studying, so that they can be able to help you to have that study time. And therefore, when you have that study time, you can be able to concentrate on your studies. You can also take advantage of your friends, whereby you can form what we refer to as a study group. Tuko pamoja? Si kuna marafiki ambao mko the same grade ama the same class now. You can form a study group so that you can be able to study together and you can be able to assist each other so that you can be able to achieve your educational goals. Tuko sawa? Haya, tuende the next one, number 7. So number 6 tumesema ni family and friends. Number 7 ni hiyo picha tunaiona. Kila kitu iko sawa? Inakaa aje? Ukijaribu kutafuta kitabu hapo utapata? So number 7 is disorganization. So unafaa kujiuliza, in your study, are you organized or disorganized? And if you are disorganized, then that one is a distractor, and it is going to prevent you from achieving your goal. So we are saying that being disorganized in your time management and the space you are using to study can be very distracting. And therefore, if you want to, maybe you want to find a book that you need, you want to find a study material that you need, you may end up using a lot of time looking for it. And therefore, that time is going to be time which is wasted because you won't be able to study in peace. And therefore, we have to ensure that we are organized, because disorganization is going to distract us from achieving our educational success. Na tumeona hiyo picha, a lot of disorganization, you cannot even concentrate. Ukitaka kutafuta kitu ambayo unataka kutumia, hautaweza kufanya nini? Kuipata. And therefore you end up wasting a lot of time, and that time that you're going to waste, it is time that you could have used to do what? To study. So number 7 is disorganization. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. So number 8 is hunger. Now, inaweza kaa funny, but it is true. It is something which can be able to do what? To distract you. Now, nikiangalia wengi wenyu, naona wanakaa tu njaa. Kwa sababu wanajua in the next few minutes, tunafaa kwa tukifanya nini? Tukikunywa chai. And therefore, because of hunger, you may not be able to do what? To concentrate. And that is true. That hunger can be a what? A distractor. And therefore, we are saying that we should not assume the fact that we need to eat well so that we can study. We cannot be able to study on an empty stomach. Is it okay? Saa zingine hata utakuwa na njaa hadi unasikia uchungu. What we refer to as the hunger pains. They can be able to distract you from being able to concentrate on what is important, and therefore you miss out on achieving your educational success. And therefore you're saying that feeling hungry and thinking about food is a distraction. Very, very important. Feeling hungry and thinking about food is a what? Is a distraction. Na ukiwa njaa, hautaweza kufanya nini? Kuconcentrate. Hiyo ni sawa? So how can we be able to deal with it? Number one, we are simply saying that you need to ensure that you eat well. Or in other words, you need to have your regular meals. So that you don't study while you are hungry. You don't concentrate so much on your studies and then you forget about eating. So you have to ensure that you have your regular meals, and you may also have what you are referring to as healthy snacks. After this, si tunaenda kukunywa chai. Kwa nini tunaenda kukunywa chai? So assuming tukae hapa tusome hadi saa 7. Tukae hapa tusome hadi saa ngapi? Saa 7. Tutaweza kuconcentrate? Itakuwa ngumu. Si ndio? Itakuwa ngumu. And therefore we need those breaks. We need to ensure that we eat well so that we can be able to do what? To concentrate. So number 8 is what? Hunger. Then number 9, anxiety. Number 9 is what? Anxiety. Huyo anakaa ni kama akona mawazo mengi ama hana mawazo mengi? Akona mawazo mengi. And therefore we are saying that anxiety can bring about so many distractions. Hiyo wasiwasi, hiyo mawazo mengi, it can be able to bring about so many distractions, and therefore it is going to stress the nervous system. Nervous system tunaijua? Nervous system made up of the brain and the nerves. Ndio tuweze kusoma, tunahitaji brain. And therefore for us to be able to remember what we learned, we need to have memory which is fresh. And therefore for the nervous system, we are saying that if it is affected, then our study is going also to be affected. And therefore we are saying that anxiety is going to lead to is going to make us not being able to concentrate, and therefore we are going to lose a lot of study time. So anxiety can also be a what? A distractor. That is number 9. Then number 10, we have what we refer to as external stressors. That is things which are coming from outside, or things which are not coming from within us, but they are coming from outside. So number 1, we are talking about family problems. Family problems, they can distract us from achieving our educational success. Number 2, we are talking about relationship issues, and we are going to talk about that. And number 3, we are talking about substance abuse. When you talk about substance abuse, we are mainly talking about drug abuse. And also we are talking about financial what? Difficulties. So all these are external stressors. They are coming from outside. Sometimes we may not have control over them. So we have family problems, we have relationship issues, we have substance abuse, and also we have financial difficulties. And we are saying that these external stressors, they are going to be very challenging, and therefore they are going to make us not to focus on our studies, and we can be able, then we will not be able to perform the way we were supposed to perform. For substance abuse, relationship issues, we are saying that they are going to affect us mentally, they are going to affect our academic performance, they are also going to affect our overall well-being. So when you talk about substance abuse, in the next slide, so we are saying that this can be in form of misusing drugs, issues of alcohol, and we know that we have so many students who are misusing drugs, so many students who are into alcohol, and therefore these are going to distract us from achieving our educational success. Also, we are talking about relationship issues. We are at that age whereby issues to do with relationships are going to affect us so much. And when you talk about relationship issues, we are not only talking about boy-girl relationship. Tunaelewana? Hatuongei tu kuhusu boy-girl relationship. We can also have the issue to do with friendship. Si kuna kila mtu hapa si akona rafiki. You may be a boy, there's a boy who is your friend. Saa zingine mnakosana. And therefore, that conflict can make you not to be able to do what? To focus. So relationship issues are so many, and therefore they are going to bring about a lot of stress and make us not to be able to do what? To focus. But how do we deal with these external stressors which may be affecting us or preventing us from achieving our educational success? Number one, we are saying that we need to seek support. If you have an issue that is affecting you, an issue which is so huge, maybe you have a conflict with your friend, maybe issues to do with drugs, issues to do with alcohol, you need to seek support. You need to talk to someone. You need to share so that that person that you share with can be able to assist you in a way that you can be able to overcome or to be able to manage the issue that you're going about, or to refer to as guidance and counseling. Also, you need to have ways of managing stress, because stress is going to bring about those distractors. It is important for us to be able to manage stress. Number three, we are saying that you need to focus on what we refer to as self-care. You focus on self-care. Self-care inamaanisha ujiangalie wewe mwenyewe, so that you can be able to see yourself as someone who is very, very important, and therefore you need to ensure that anything which is stressing you, you are able to avoid it. For example, we are saying that you need to ensure that you eat healthy. Kumbuka tumesema hunger can be a distractor. You need to ensure that you get sufficient sleep. Tumesema kuwa lack of sleep can be a distractor. You need to ensure that you engage yourself in activities which are going to make you relax or to make you happy, so that at any given time you are happy. And that is why we are talking about you focus on yourself. What we are talking about, focusing on self-care. Also, we are saying that you set boundaries. There are some relationships that we normally say that they are toxic. Unaweza kuwa na rafiki, lakini huyo rafiki hakusaidii kwa vyovyote. There is no need to concentrate on such a friendship. You can be able to set what we are referring to as boundaries, or you set limits, so that you don't get into what we are referring to as toxic relationships. Also, we are saying that in case someone may find him or herself addicted to drugs, addicted to alcohol, addicted to other vices, then you need to seek professional help. You can talk to a counselor, you can talk to a psychologist, and that person can be able to assist you, so that you can be able to focus on your education and be able to come up or to come out of those things that affect you. And therefore, those are the 10 main things that can be able to distract us from achieving our educational success. Number 1 tulisema ni nini? Number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10. Hizo ni vitu ambazo tunapitia ama hatupitii. Ni vitu ambazo tunapitia ama hatupitii. Na kama pia hatupitii, ni vitu ambazo tunaweza jipata tunapitia in future. And therefore, it is important for us to ensure that we are aware of such things, and we are also able to cope with such things in case they do what? They happen. So that if our main goal is to get that A, we ensure that we avoid all those distractions. If our main goal is to get that B, we ensure that we avoid all those distractions. Now, I want us to generally look at ways in which we can be able to overcome the education distractors. How do we overcome education distractors? Number 1, we are saying that we need to look at the bigger picture. Unaona jamaa kwa hapo? Kuna picture ngapi hapo? Moja kubwa, ingine yana concentrate na gani? Sasa unafaa ujiulize, if your bigger picture is to get an A, if your bigger picture is to get a B, are you going to concentrate on that A? Are you going to concentrate on getting that B? or are you going to concentrate on the distractors? The distractors are the smaller picture. The bigger picture is achieving that A, achieving that B. So where are you going to concentrate? But now we are saying that we need to concentrate on the bigger picture. We need to concentrate on the goals that we have set. And we need to minimize on concentrating on the distractors. So we concentrate on the bigger picture. Our bigger picture is to get an A. Our bigger picture is to get a B. Tunakubaliana? And that is our educational what? Success. And therefore we are saying that always we should look at the bigger picture. Very, very important. Always we should look at the bigger picture. Number two, we are saying that we should think about what we will be achieving if we concentrate on our studies. Already tumesema, if we concentrate on our studies, we are going to achieve an A. If we concentrate on our studies, we are going to achieve a B. So we need to decide, are we going to concentrate on the distractors and we get an E, or are we going to concentrate on things that are going to help us to achieve A and B? So we are told that let us always look at the bigger picture. Also we are told that when you take a step away from distractions, you are taking a step closer to your destination. What is our destination? To get an A, to get a B. What we are referring to as educational success. That the moment we fail to focus on our distractors, we are moving closer to our destination. When we overcome the distractions that we face, then we are moving closer to achieving our set goal, which is achieving that A, which is achieving that B. And therefore the most important thing is that we need to focus on the bigger picture. That is number one. Tuko sawa? Number two, how do you overcome education distractors? Inasema nini? We follow a routine. Na hiyo picha inasema nini? Your daily routine matters. Kumbuka tulisema we need to come up with a personal timetable. That is the routine we are talking about. That we need to follow a routine. So number one, we look at the bigger picture. Number two, we follow what? A routine. So we are saying that in terms of following a routine, that we need to create a routine for our activities. In other words, we need to come up with a timetable so that we can be able to allocate time for studying. We can also be able to allocate time for our hobbies, our chores, and our co-curricular activities, because all of them are important, but we are agreeing that studying is more important. We allocate time for studying. We also allocate time for our hobbies, our chores, and our co-curricular activity. Kwa sababu tutapewa tu kazi nyumbani, but we need now to come up with a routine. So we need to come up with a routine, and that routine that we are going to follow is now going to make us to be organized so that we can avoid being disorganized. So number one, we look at the bigger picture. And then number two, we follow a routine. Then number three, very, very important, we need to inform what? Our family. Informing means that if we have come up with a timetable, let us share that timetable with our family members so that they can be able to understand that between this time and this time, I'm supposed to be studying. Between this time and this time, I'm supposed to be doing 1, 2, 3. Remember we said that communication is very, very important. And therefore, it is important to inform our family. So we are saying that inform your family about your study schedule. The next slide, inform your family about your study schedule. Number two, we are saying that, that every member of your family wants you to succeed. Your parents want you to succeed. Your siblings also want you to succeed. And therefore, they will be able to respect your study time because they want the best from you. Also, we are saying that your family will be able to know the value of your time, and also they will be able to appreciate the work that you are doing so that you can always be successful in your academics. So we need to inform our family so that they can be able to know the time that we have set aside so that we can be able to study. So number one, tumesema ni look at the bigger picture. Number two, follow a routine. Number three, inform your family, so that they can be able to understand how your program is, and they will be able to assist you in one way or another. And then number 4, which is very important, is to ensure that you have a conducive study spot. In other words, tuliongea kuhusu disorganization. Ukiangalia hiyo meza ya huyo mwanafunzi, iko organized ama iko disorganized? Iko organized. And therefore, you need to ensure that pale ambapo unasomea, especially nyumbani, is it a place that you can be able to concentrate? And therefore, you have to ensure that, or in other words, you have to identify a place which is favorable in your home or in your room that is going to be conducive to learning. Point number 2 and 3 are very, very important. Angalia point number 2. Tunaambiwa aje? Avoid studying while. Turudie tena, avoid studying while. Utajipata umefanya nini? Umelala. Badala ya kufanya nini? Ya kusoma. Na najua kuna wengi wanapenda kusoma kama wamelala kwa kitanda. And sometimes you may end up falling asleep instead of studying. And therefore, in that spot or in that space that you are going to identify which is going to be conducive, ensure that you don't study while on bed. Also ensure that where you are studying, the room is not noisy. Because if there is a lot of noise, then that noise is going to distract you, and you are not going to do what? To concentrate. So number 4, we are saying that you have a conducive study spot or study place. Identify a place or a spot in your room, in your home, which is going to be conducive to learning. Avoid studying while on bed, and also ensure that the room that you are studying is not noisy, because the noise is going to do what? To distract you. Tuko sawa? And then number 5, engage in self-talk. Ni kujiongelesha. Na kujiongelesha haimaanishi kichwa yako haiko sawa. Tunaelewana? You engage in self-talk. Haya, very important. Number 1, we are saying that if you find your mind wandering, tell yourself to get back on the task and that you need to complete the work. Sometimes you may not have 100% concentration. Sio ni ukweli? Wakati unasoma, kuna mafikira inaweza kukujia, unaweza pata unafikiria mambo ambayo si ya kenye unafanya, and therefore we are saying that you can be able to talk to yourself at that point. Na ujiambie kuwa tafadhali concentrate na kenye unafanya ndio uweze kumaliza that task. Unajiongelesha, hauongeleshwi. Tuko pamoja? Number 2, we are saying that appreciate yourself and tell yourself that you did a great job when you accomplish a task. So you set goals. You are going to accomplish a task. And therefore we are saying that it is important for you to appreciate yourself when you are able to meet or to attain a certain task or goal. Unajua saa zingine utatafuta mtu wa kukusifu na hautafanya nini? Hautapata. Kwa hivyo ni vizuri unajirudishia nini? Shukrani. So appreciate yourself. Self-talk. You are encouraging yourself. Also we are saying that remind yourself that you are capable and just need to put more effort if you start thinking you don't have what it takes to succeed. Saa zingine tuna feel discouraged along the way. We will feel discouraged. We may want to achieve that A. We may want to achieve that B. But we are not moving towards achieving that A or that B. And we are saying that you need to encourage yourself. You need to tell yourself that you are capable. You can make it. Okay? So encourage yourself that you are capable. Also engage in self-care and be kind to yourself. Usijidharau, usione kama hauwezi. Kwa sababu kila mtu ako na ability. Kila mtu ako na uwezo fulani. So engage in self-care, be kind to yourself, and we are saying that you need to focus on progress and growth. Encourage yourself that you have been able to achieve 1, 2, 3, rather than being discouraged. So don't allow yourself to be discouraged, but engage in self-talk so that you can ensure that you are always focusing on progress, you are always focusing on growth, rather than being discouraged and assuming that you're not going to make it. And therefore the 5 are very, very important in ensuring that we are going to overcome education distractors. So number 1 tumesema ni nini? You look at the bigger picture. Number 2 tukasema? Number 2 tukasema? You follow a routine. Number 3? Inform your family. Number 4? You have a conducive study spot without any distractions. And then number 5? So that you can always encourage yourself and tell yourself that it is always important, it is always possible, and you can always achieve your goal. You can always achieve that A, you can always achieve that B. And then we are saying that we can be able to get benefits of having that focused and distraction-free study schedule when you have that timetable which is going to guide you. Number 1, we are saying that you are going to have improved productivity. Productivity means that if you have set goals, you will be able to achieve those goals. Also, we are saying that it is going to help you to learn and also to retain information. To retain information inamaanisha utaweza kukumbuka kenye ulisoma. Wakati unafanya mtihani, you can be able to remember what you learned. Also, we are saying that when you have that distraction-free timetable, you are going to be able to reduce stress and also anxiety. Kumbuka tulisema stress and anxiety are distractors. Also, you will be able to have better time management. Tumeongea kuhusu disorganization as a distractor, but the moment you have that well-organized study schedule or timetable, then you will be able to manage your time well. And lastly, you will be able now to have higher academic achievement. When we say that we are going to get that A, you will be able to achieve the A. You will be able to achieve the B, and that is what we are referring to as higher academic achievement. But you will only be able to do that when you are well organized, when you have that distraction-free study schedule or distraction-free timetable, so that you can be able to follow that timetable. And when you follow that timetable, you will be able to achieve higher academic achievement. And as I conclude, I want to conclude by saying the following. And we can also be able to see that in our slide. That number 1, we need to stay determined, we need to stay focused, and make studying a priority. When we make studying a priority, we will be able to ensure that we have avoided or we have overcome the distractors. And when we avoid the distractors, then we'll be able to achieve educational success. So let us always stay determined, let us always stay focused, and let us always ensure that we make studying a priority. The number 2, we are saying that with dedication and consistent effort, you can eliminate distractions and achieve your academic goals. So let us always be dedicated. Let us always have that consistent effort, so that when we are dedicated, when we have the consistent effort, then we eliminate the distractions that we have gone through, and then we achieve our academic goals. Our academic goal is to be successful, and we are only going to be successful when we are dedicated and when we have that consistent effort, when we make studying a priority. And then number 3, we are saying that starve your distractions and feed your focus. Remember, we said that we have to look at the bigger picture. Tunaelewana? We look at the bigger picture. That is where our focus is. And therefore, when we starve our distractions, when we are able to overcome our distractions, then we are able to feed our focus. In other words, we are able to concentrate on what is more important. We are able to look at the bigger picture, so that when we look at the bigger picture, we will be able to achieve educational success. Tutapata hiyo A, tutapata hiyo B, kwa sababu tumeweza kuavoid the distractions, and we have ensured that our focus is on the bigger picture. And then I'm going to end up with that quote which says that the capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill. But the willingness to learn is a choice. So which is your choice? Are you going to make that choice to learn willingly? Are you going to make that choice to make studying a priority? So that when you make studying your priority, then you can be able to have what we are referring to as educational success. But there are so many distractions, as we have seen. If you concentrate on the distractions, then you won't be able to achieve success. But if you are able to overcome the distractions, you will be able to focus on the bigger picture. And when you focus on the bigger picture, then your choice will be to learn. You will be able to make studying a priority, and then you will be able to achieve that A, you will be able to achieve that B. And therefore, mine is just to encourage you that ensure that you are able to overcome the distractions. There are so many. You are able to overcome the distractions, and then you focus on your studies. Always look at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is educational success. The bigger picture is attaining that A. The bigger picture is attaining that B. And when you look at the bigger picture, then you won't be able to focus on the distractions. And the moment you are able to overcome the distractions, then you will be able to achieve education success. So mine is just to wish you well in your studies. Kindly ensure that you are able to avoid or to overcome all those distractions that they may make you not to achieve your goal, and you concentrate on your studies. So let us always ensure that we make studying a priority so that when distractions come, we will be able to overcome them. So I wish you all the best in your studies, and my prayer is that you will be able to achieve your education success. You'll be able to achieve that A, you'll be able to achieve that B. But remember, you are going to achieve that when you look at the bigger picture and you avoid or you overcome the distractions. Thank you so much.
Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Anyone with a question? Anyone with a question? Anyone with a question?
If food, you have said only hunger and food.
Mimi si kusema smell of food inaweza kudistract. Tuliongea kuhusu hunger na okay, inaweza kudistract, but it will going to distract you if you are hungry. And that is why we said that for you to be able to overcome hunger, you need to ensure that you take your regular meals. Or in other words, you have breaks. Na ndio nikawapea example nikasema, kama saizi nikiendelea kuwafunza hadi saa 7, itawasaidia kweli? Haitawasaidia, because you need that break. Is it okay? Right now tunaenda break ndio mweze kunywa chai. Mnakunywa chai kwa nini? Si mnataka kudeal na hunger, si ndio? So that you can be able to do what? To concentrate. So ensure that you eat your meals regularly, and also you have breaks so that even as you are studying, you have that break so that you can be able to maybe to eat or to take a snack which is going to make you to concentrate. Ni sawa? Nilijua tu hakutakosa swali ya mambo ya njaa.